and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has once again hailed U.S. President Donald Trump for reimposing sanctions against the Islamic Republic of Iran, a move the Israeli leader defines as courageous, determined, and important for stability, security, and peace. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani vowed to break the reimposed sanctions regime against his country and called on the international community to unite in punishing the United States. Russia announced that it has deployed its new Navy frigate with long-range Kalibr cruise missiles to the Mediterranean Sea, a few months after Moscow had reinforced its naval forces off the coast of Syria. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has once again hailed U.S. President Donald Trump for reimposing sanctions against the Islamic Republic of Iran, a move the Israeli leader defined as courageous, determined, and important. During a meeting of Netanyahu's Likud faction, the Israeli leader stressed that while there could yet be bumps on the road, the decision to confront Iran's malign activities contributes to stability, security, and peace.
אני מבקש להודות שוב לנשיא ארצות הברית דונלד טראמפ על החלטה אמיצה ונחושה וחשובה. אני חושב שהדבר הזה תורם ליציבות, לביטחון ולשלום. זה נכון שיכול להיות עוד מהמורות בשטח, אבל צריך לבוא לזה מתוך עמדה מאוד תקיפה ואיתנה, גם מוסרית, גם כלכלית וגם ביטחונית.
Prime Minister Netanyahu also took the opportunity to reiterate the effects of the already presiding sanctions against the Ayatollah regime, which had forced the Islamic Republic to scale back on its financial support for terror organizations across the Middle East.
הסנקציות הקשות ביותר שהוטלו על איראן מאז שהתחיל המאמץ לשלוט או לעצור את התוקפנות שלה. אנחנו רואים את ההשפעה של הסנקציות האלה בשטח כבר עכשיו. אנחנו רואים את זה בצמצום תקציבים לגורמי התוקפנות שאיראן מקיימת בתוך שטחה ומעבר לשטחה. הגל השני של הסנקציות, בייחוד הסנקציות שהוטלו על הסוויפט, זו מערכת סליקת האשראי הבנקאית בה משתמש המשטר האיראני, בעצם בה משתמש העולם כולו. התוספת הזאת תטיל מחנה גדול מאוד על משטר הטרור של איראן.
During the Trump administration's announcement of the new sanctions regime against Iran, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo declared that the ultimate goal remains to convince the regime to abandon its current revolutionary course. That said, the American top diplomat who made his remarks during a joint press conference with U.S. Secretary of Treasury Steven Mnuchin voiced hope that the Iranian leadership would reconsider its reluctance of renegotiating an agreement that would tackle its malign activities across the Middle East and around the world.
Our objective is to starve the Iranian regime of the revenue it uses to fund violent and destabilizing activities throughout the Middle East and indeed around the world. Our ultimate goal is to convince the regime to abandon its current revolutionary course. The Iranian regime has a choice. It can either do a 180-degree turn from its outlaw course of action and act like a normal country, or it can see its economy crumble. We hope a new agreement with Iran is possible, but until Iran makes changes in the 12 ways that I listed in May, we will be relentless in exerting pressure on the regime.
Well, the United States demanded of the international community to cut oil imports from the Islamic Republic to zero. Secretary Pompeo revealed that the Trump administration had decided to issue temporary allotments to a handful of countries that will provide them with time to avoid a devastating impact to their respective economies.
We have decided to issue temporary allotments to a handful of countries, responsive both to the specific circumstances and to ensure a well-supplied oil market. The U.S. will be granting these exemptions to China, India, Italy, Greece, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and Turkey. Each of those countries has already demonstrated significant reductions of the purchase of Iranian crude over the past 6 months, and indeed 2 of those 8 have already completely ended imports of Iranian crude and will not resume as long as the sanctions regime remains in place. We continue negotiations to get all of the nations to zero.
Well, President Donald Trump initially rejected the idea of providing countries with exceptions from sanctions against the Islamic Republic. The American leader underscored that his decision to provide countries with additional time to gradually diminish their oil imports from Iran aimed to avoid driving the oil prices around the world upwards.
With the oil, it's very interesting. We have the toughest sanctions ever imposed. But on oil, we want to go a little bit slower because I don't want to drive the oil prices in the world. This has nothing to do with Iran. I don't want to drive the oil prices in the world up. So I'm not looking to be a great hero and bring it down to zero immediately. I could get the Iran oil down to zero immediately, but it would cause a shock to the market. I don't want to lift oil prices. And if you notice, oil prices are going down very substantially, despite the fact that already half of their capacity is gone. But I don't want to do that. I saw some people saying, oh, why aren't you tougher on that? Well, number one, the sanctions are very tough. Number two, I don't want to lift the oil prices worldwide by clamping down 100%. It will be a gradual.
Meanwhile, in the Islamic Republic, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani vowed to break the reimposed sanctions regime against his country. Speaking during a conference in Tehran, the Iranian president accused the United States of breaching UN Security Council Resolution 2231, which adopted the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which is the technical term for the 2015 nuclear deal with Iran. That said, Rouhani did not mention that Resolution 2231 also calls on the Islamic Republic not to undertake any activity related to ballistic missiles designated to be capable of delivering nuclear warheads, a paragraph the Ayatollah regime breached on multiple occasions. The Iranian president further stressed in a message directed toward the Trump administration that using a language of force, threats, pressure, and sanctions would not work against the Islamic Republic.
ما این تحریم رو باید به خوبی بشکنیم و این کار رو خواهیم کرد با حول و قوه الهی، با کمک مردم و با اتحاد و وحدتی که در جامعه هست. باید تفهیم کنیم به آمریکایی‌ها با زبان روشن که با زبان زور، با زبان فشار، با زبان تحریم، با زبان تهدید با ملت بزرگ ایران حرف نزنن. باید برای همیشه تاریخ تنبیه بشن.
Meanwhile, in Japan, Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu criticized the United States for its renewed sanctions regime against the Islamic Republic. During a joint press conference with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, the Turkish top diplomat stressed that isolating Iran is dangerous. Furthermore, Minister Cavusoglu stressed that while Turkey received an oil imports exemption from the United States, the move is seen by Ankara as a blow to regional stability.
While we were asking exemption from United States, we have been also very frank with them that cornering Iran is not wise. Isolating Iran is dangerous, and punishing the Iranian people is not fair.
It is important to know that Turkey depends heavily on oil imports to meet its energy needs. According to Turkish traders, neighboring Iran has been one of its main sources of oil because of its proximity, crude quality, and favorable price differentials. Now, in other news, Russia revealed that it has deployed its new Navy frigate with long-range Kalibr cruise missiles to the Mediterranean Sea, a few months after Moscow had reinforced its naval forces off the coast of Syria. According to a statement by the Russian Defense Ministry, the vessel will be acting in the standing naval force of the Russian fleet in the Mediterranean, increasing Moscow's firepower in the area significantly. The ministry did not say whether the frigate was supposed to take part in the military operation in Syria, where Moscow has backed President Bashar al-Assad since entering the war in 2015. Nevertheless, it fulfills a statement by Russian President Vladimir Putin, who said in May that Russian military vessels with Kalibr cruise missiles would be on permanent standby in the Mediterranean Sea to counter what Putin referred to as the terror threats in Syria. Thank you for watching us. Keep praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Jonathan Hassan. Have a Erev Tov, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.